Hi there, everyone. My name is Hezekiel, and today there is another powerful kind of a video that actually I'm making so that we can explore the world of computers together, so that we can gain and benefit from this video, so that we can have a good time when we are using our computers. So now today, the topic of today actually, it's about the evolution of processors. Actually, I'm focusing too much on processor because processor is the most important part of a computer, nothing else but the processor. So now we have an information on device specification where I'm explaining in detail each and every part of the device specification. So now I came to a point where I have to talk about the evolution of processors. So what do I mean when I say evolution of processors? I actually talk about the upgradation of processors, because each and every year the Intel company or the AMD Ryzen company, it produces a new type of a processor. Each and every year it produces a new type of a processor. So since the processor company is producing processors each and every year, a person can ask a question and say, if there is new processor each and every way, does that mean that we have to upgrade each and every year? We have to go to the store and buy a new computer each and every year? That is the question that somebody can ask. But to myself, the answer it will be to you as a person. My answer to you, it will be to say, actually the evolution of processors is not that much powerful. It's not the only requirement for a computer to be the best. Irregardless of the evolution of processor, irregardless of how they modify them each and every year, the gigahertz on a processor is always going to lead. The speed which is made in terms of gigahertz is the one that it is always going to be the leading part in part of a processor, irregardless of how these processors are being upgraded each and every year. Processor without gigahertz, it cannot be fast, because the gigahertz determines the speed of a PC. So it does not matter if the processor was produced this year and then the other model was produced 5 years back. If you can take a processor that is produced today and then you give it a lower megahertz, and you give the processor that is produced 5 years ago, you give it gigahertz, just know that the one that it has gigahertz is going to perform more faster than the one that is produced now with a lower megahertz. So that's how to know if a computer processor, it's how to know if the computer processor, how important it is, the modification of a processor. The modification of a processor is just the addition of features and the addition of new technology. It's just the addition of features and then actually some additions into the processor for new technology, I can say. But what matters the most into a processor It is how the speed is measured. Is that the speed of a processor is measured in megahertz or in gigahertz? So it does not actually the evolution of processors is not that too much important. It's not that too much important. The evolution of processors. What matters the most in a computer processor, it is the speed, which is determined in terms of gigahertz and megahertz. In terms of gigahertz, actually, when I'm speaking about technology, the current technology of nowadays, we speak about gigahertz, no more megahertz. Megahertz is for other small devices. So for computer, I cannot speak about megahertz. I speak about gigahertz. So megahertz is for small devices, maybe the radios and all kinds of small devices that you can imagine, the symbols, the simple ones. So my main focus today is the evolution of processors. Someone will have a question to themselves that it is a evolution of processors important in a computer. So my answer to that is that the evolution of processors, it only brings the features and addition of new technology to the processor, but it does not determine the power and the speed of the computer. The speed of the computer is determined by a gigahertz. So that's what you must know about the evolution of processors, like the upgradation of processors is important, yes, but if it does not have the right speed, it's going to be useless. That kind of a modification, if it does not have the right speed is useless. It's useless. So I want us to go and have some examples of what am I talking about, so that you can understand clearly actually what do I mean exactly about the evolution of processors. So let's go. So as we are going to the computer to actually I want to give some few examples, and then so that we can all understand how the evolution of processes it does not matter the most, but what matters the most is the speed that is used in a processor. So as I've explained that the upgradation of processors, it only comes with the features. It only comes with the features and a new technology. It actually, they add up some few changes into the processor, because if we can look at it, how are they doing it, it's really not convincing that actually the upgradation is that too much powerful, because it happens each and every year. Like, just imagine each and every year, and then they are producing a different type of processors. So it's not that convincing that actually the features that they are adding and then the new technology, it matters the most. So what I've realized, and then based on the knowledge and then the experience, is that those upgradation they are not that much actually important for you. You cannot be in a competition to follow them. Like, if this year they come up with a different type of a processor, you buy a computer this year because of the processor type, and then the next year they change that processor, and then they add up some technology and new features, and then you'll again have to go to the store and buy another computer, and the next year they do the same, and you'll go to the store again. So you see, you'll always be on shopping each and every year to buy a computer, which that is not necessary, because what matters is not the features the most. What matters is the speed. What matters the most is the speed, and what determines the speed is the gigahertz, not the features and not the new technology added to the processor. So as I've said that I want us to go to the computer, and then I give some few examples so that we can, all of us, understand what is that exactly am I talking about. So now on your screen you can see we have this page here. Here I've just typed some few information about the processor so that I can explain it to you in detail, and then in the best interest of your understanding. So now let's say let's say we have I start from the bottom. I want you to follow. I start from the bottom, right? There is Intel Pentium, which is silver and gold. This is a modification. Like this type of processor, it is modified, and it is now called Pentium, and then it is silver and gold processors. So this modification was made in 1993. So, and then we have another modification that also took place in the year 1998, where Intel was now modified to Celeron. Celeron was a type of a processor modification of Intel processor, Celeron. So going year by years, as they're changing the processors, adding up, we came to Intel Ice, which was introduced in 2008. In 2008, the I modification of processors was introduced in 2008. So going by the years, it was upgraded, modified with i5 and then i7. So now I want us to actually understand it clearly, where I come to the recent year which we have just been to. The last modification of a processor, the last type of a processor which was produced, it was produced in 2023, which is Intel I, which is Intel is the company, is the brand, is the company, and i9, it is the modification, is a type of a processor, which is i9 14th generation. It was produced in 2023. So each and every year, Intel, it produces processors, different kind of processors. So the latest one that we have on our site now is Intel i9 14th generation. So I want us to actually explore and find out exactly how is this modification adding value, how important are they. I want us to find out how important are they. I'll give some few examples on down there to explain, actually to clarify in detail so that we can understand. So my example is this one. I've just made this short example here. So my example is that we have Intel, and we have Intel Core i9, which is 14th generation, that it is modified in 2023. It is produced, and it is a modification of 2023. And let's say that we have Intel i9, which it is a modification of 2023, and we have Intel Celeron, which is a modification of 1998. It is for 1998. So when you look at the processor of i9 14th generation, it has 800 megahertz. It has 800 megahertz, and then it is a modification, it is a type, it is an upgradation of 2023. It was upgraded in 2023, and then it is the latest. It is i9 14th generation, so it uses a speed of 800 megahertz. So now we have a processor, Intel Celeron, which was modified in 1998, and it uses 3.5 gigahertz. So between the two, which one is going to be faster than the other? Which one is going to be faster than the other? If we can compare these two, which one is going to be faster than the other? If you look at this one, which was produced, or which was upgraded in the recent years, 2023, and it uses 800 megahertz, and then the one which is the older one, the one which is it was upgraded in 1998, it uses 3.5 gigahertz. So the question is, which one between the two is going to be fast, is going to perform fast? So the answer, it is that the Celeron, which was produced or modified in 1998, is going to perform much faster than the new modification of 2023, because the reason why is because it uses the speed which is not powerful. It uses the speed that is not powerful, which is 800 megahertz. It uses megahertz, which it is smaller than the gigahertz. It's smaller than the gigahertz. So irregardless of its modification, irregardless of its upgradation, it does not surpass the power of the gigahertz. It does not surpass the power of the gigahertz. So same thing goes to this AMD Ryzen. Same goes to AMD Ryzen. So this is just an example. I've just used Intel, but also on Ryzen is the same thing. So can you see that irregardless of i9 14th generation, if it does not have a good speed measure, it's not going to be productive, it's not going to be faster, the performance of it is not going to be reliable, irregardless of when was the processor modification made. So with this short example, I want us to go straight to the device specification and then see what am I talking about exactly. So now let's just simply go here. You can see here we have here on our screen, we have Intel Core, which is i5. So this is i5, and these numbers here, these numbers are just the numbers which they use to actually differentiate which year was that kind of a processor made. And then yeah, so it is i5 together with these numbers here. So it is a modification of a processor. So this company, each and every year, it produces different type of processors. So these ones, they don't surpass the power of this. They don't surpass the power of this. These ones, they don't surpass the power of this, as I have shortly made an example where I actually explain everything in detail about how are these things, how are these modifications working together with the gigahertz. So let's see this one. You can see this one, it is i7 together with these numbers here, which these numbers they actually explain which year was the processor modified. So this is one, it is i7. So irregardless of it being i7, being i9, being i5, being i3, it does not surpass the power of a gigahertz. So these ones, they are also important, but are not the things which you can always be after them, running after them, and then expecting to have a good performance. If you can have the latest upgradation of this, and then you have the bad side of this, then you didn't do nothing. Actually, you didn't do nothing. You are still going to experience some performance problems. So yeah, no, I do hope that you do understand that the evolution of processes, they are not that much important, they are not that much reliable, but it is just what we are currently experiencing about the companies, what they are doing. And then from my side, I will say that they are actually running, it is a company, remember, it is a company and it is a business. On the other hand, they must pay some expenses, and then they have some long-term liabilities, short-term liabilities. They are having some expenses too. Like, it is a company, it must have a revenue, it must have a financial performance at the end of the day. So that might be the reason for them to actually each and every year be releasing a new kind of a processor, because actually, yeah, there is no that too much need for that. But yes, as it is a company, so yeah, no, they are operating, and they must operate. They cannot produce one processor now this year, and then they stay for 5 years or 10 years without making sure that they produce something else that will make the revenue of a company go high and high. So that's how the company operating. But what is important also is that they are bringing new features, and then they are adding up a new technology to the processors. So that's what you have to keep in mind, that they are doing something, because of that features are the things that we need. And yeah, that's how it is. So I've explained about Intel, and then let me just show some AMD Ryzen. It also have AMD Ryzen, it also have AMD Ryzen 5, and then it also followed by these numbers here. These numbers, they actually shows when was this kind of processor been produced. Yeah, so yeah, we have AMD Ryzen, and then AMD Ryzen 5, we have AMD Ryzen 7, and then we have AMD Ryzen 9, which is the latest processor produced. And going forward into another coming year or coming months, we are expecting another kind of a processor to be launched from these different kind of processor producing companies. So yeah, the main thing today was about the main thing was about the evolution of processors. How important is the evolution of processors when it comes to the processor? So as I've explained, I do think that my explanation in detail, it really get understood by you, so that you can make the right decisions about buying your PC, about having your PC and using your PC, so that you might understand these factors, because they are two important factors which you must not ignore at all. You must not ignore. You cannot ignore such kind of important information, because it's important to you. It's important to you, to your daily life. You are the person who is going to use the PC each and every day. So it is your responsibility to make sure that you know, you have a full knowledge about such kind of things. So yeah, from me to you is it about the video. And then what I would like you to do for me is to subscribe to the channel, and then subscribe to the channel, so that we will explore the world of computers together with a happy mood of good performance. And then also for professional reasons, you will be able to use the right computer to the best interest of your goodness. So from me to you, it's shalom.